The Late Show studio buzzed under warm lights, its energy crackling with a restless hum. The crowd's cheers echoing off the walls, a wave of sound that promised a night of sharp wit and sharper stakes. A stage primed for a clash no one saw coming. Stephen Colbert stepped to his desk, his grin sly and bright, his presence a spark that lit the room, a host ready to pierce through hype with a knowing edge, his eyes glinting, a voice for the room facing a rare test. Across from him sat Barron Trump, the towering 19-year-old with a slick suit and guarded stare, his posture stiff, his jaw set, a flicker of unease in his gaze. A guest stepping out of his family's shadow, his hands clasped tight. A young man, braced for scrutiny. The audience, a mix of Colbert's fans and Trump-curious onlookers, clapped loud, their buzz a thick pulse, their voices rising, eager for Colbert's bite to meet Barron's mystique. A showdown simmering slow, a spark, ready to flare, a night where Barron would be kicked off, Colbert standing firm. Colbert kicked off with his trademark warmth, his voice smooth. "Folks, tonight we've got Barron Trump, the youngest Trump stepping into the spotlight, here to tell us what's next." His words laced with a smirk, a nod to the crowd that drew laughs, the room humming with curiosity, a nod to Barron's elusive rise in 2025. Barron nodded, his smile faint. "Thanks, Stephen. Just figuring things out, you know." His tone low, a hint of caution breaking through. The audience chuckling, some clapping. Their intrigue for his quiet vibe a thin thread, a shared wonder for a Trump untested. Colbert tilted his head. "Figuring it out, huh? Still carrying that Trump name. Like it's a golden ticket, Barron?" His quip light pointed, a poke at legacy. The crowd giggling, the mood easy, a sparring match starting soft, a fuse lit slow, begging the question, how long could this stay tame? The chat flowed on, Colbert steering toward Barron's plans. "So, Barron, you're 19. What's the play? College, business, or just coasting on the Trump train?" His question edged with a grin, a wink to the camera, the audience laughing. Their applause a steady hum, a warm nod to Colbert's knack for digging. Barron shrugged. "Maybe a mix, Stephen. I've got options." His reply cool, a touch of confidence slipping out. The crowd murmuring, some clapping, others shifting. Their unease with his family's weight growing. A sign of a rift to come. Colbert's eyes sharpened. "Options, sure. But what about the Trump chaos? You dodging that or diving in?" His tone still playful but piercing. A spark in his stare. A challenge dangling loud. A thought rising quick. Would Barron sidestep or step into a fight he couldn't win? The air stiffened, Barron's fingers tapping, his smile fading. "Chaos. Huh? You're fishing, Stephen?" His voice low, edged, a hint of heat slipping free, the audience buzzing, some laughing, others leaning in, their tension coiling fast, a spring wound tight, a fuse burning short. Colbert grinned wider. "Fishing, Barron, no, just asking. You're a Trump. That's the bait, right?" His words swift, a jab that landed sharp, the crowd roaring, some clapping hard, their faith in him surging, the room tilting toward something raw, something real. Could Barron hold steady, or had he just walked into a trap he couldn't dodge? A clash ready to blow? A night poised to turn? The crowd's roar swelled through the Late Show studio, their cheers and murmurs crashing into a sharp, electric buzz, their eyes flicking between Stephen Colbert and Barron Trump, the air thick with a tension that snapped loud, a fuse burning, shorter with every breath, a clash ready to burst wide open. Colbert sat firm, his grin tight, his voice cutting clean. "You're a Trump, that's the bait, right?" His jab still ringing, his gaze locked on Barron, his breath steady, a host, pressing a nerve he knew would flare. A voice for truth pushing past polish, a spark blazing bright. Barron leaned in, his fingers clenching, his cool cracking fast. Fishing's your game, Stephen. Not mine. You're digging for dirt, huh? His tone sharp, a sting breaking free. The audience gasping, some chuckling, others tensing. Their buzz a live wire. A young Trump striking back. A fight turning raw. A moment teetering on a knife's edge. Colbert's eyes flashed, his voice steady. Digging, Barron. No, just asking what you stand for. That Trump name's heavy? You carrying it proud? His words crisp, a shove that landed hard. The crowd erupting, some clapping, others whooping, their support a wall. A host calling out dodge with no flinch. A truth slicing deep, a blaze catching quick. Barron's jaw tightened. I'm proud of my family, Stephen. You twist it. I'm not your punching bag. His retort hot, a jab at bias. The audience booing soft, some nodding. Their split a jagged pulse. A Trump air pushing back. A dynasty's weight facing fire. A dollar's worth of legacy stretched thin. A tension spiking high. A heartbeat pounding loud. A clash of roots breaking wide. A story twisting fierce. A showdown no one could blink from. The fight roared hotter. Colbert, leaning closer. Proud, sure, but what about your dad's election mess? You backing that, or just riding the coattails? His voice rising, a blade of reason, a stand for the room. The crowd roaring, some standing. Get him! Their cheers a storm. A host wielding fact like a sword. A Trump's shield crumbling fast. A moment spiraling wild. A spark bursting flame. Barron shot up, his chair scraping. You're a hack, Stephen. I'm not here for your garbage. I'm out. His voice booming, a snarl of fury. His hands tearing off the mic. The cord whipping free. The audience gasping, some booing loud. Stay! Others cheering. Go! Their noise a thunderous swell. A Trump storming off. A host unbowed. A clash exploding raw. A breaking point slammed hard. A shock rippling through. Barron stomped off, his footsteps pounding. Enjoy your little show! His parting growl swallowed by the din. The crowd's swell shattering into chaos, some clapping Colbert, others stunned, a wave crashing fierce. A Trump kicked off by his own heat, a host left standing, his hands raised. Barron, take it easy. His voice cool, a quip that landed soft, a jab that sealed it. The audience erupting, their cheers a thunderous tide, a triumph blooming swift. A night flipped, upside down. Security hovered, their whispers sharp. He's gone. Their relief ignored. Colbert's grin returning, his gaze sweeping the room. The crowd's buzz a living thing. Their faith in him a rock. A story spinning beyond the set. A simple chat turned into a saga. A shock unfolding raw and deep. A question pulsing loud. Would Barron vanish, a fleeting flare, or leave Colbert's win to glow alone? The Late Show studio thundered with a wild, jagged swell. The crowd's cheers and boos crashing into a fierce, pulsing roar. Their eyes wide, their phones buzzing. A chaos still echoing from Barron Trump's stomping exit. His mic dangling loose. A shocking clash with Stephen Colbert burning bright. A moment carved raw and real. A spark fading quick. Colbert sat steady, his grin sharp, his hands calm. Barron, take it easy. His cool quip still lingering, his breath even. A host unshaken by a Trump's storm. A voice holding firm. A triumph glowing wide. The audience surged, their applause. A living tide. Some standing. You owned him. Their shouts a wave. Others murmuring. Too harsh. Their split a live pulse. A night flipped hard. A clash sealed tight. A story spinning wild. A victory poised to rise. A shock sinking. Deep, a scene no one could erase. Backstage, the frenzy erupted. Crew darting through shadows, their headsets crackling. He's out the exit. Their voices sharp. A rush as Barron shoved past, his suit rustling, his growl fading. Screw this, his departure a blaze of rage. A young Trump undone by a jab too real. Word spread fast, staff whispering Barron had tensed from the jump, his nerves raw, his prep thin. A clash sparked by Colbert's edge, a clip already viral. Barron storms off, the tide swelling, some bashing his flair, others hailing Colbert's steel, a digital storm brewing. But the spotlight held on Colbert, his desk a fortress, his crowd a shield, a moment to claim, a test he'd won with wit, a night turned raw, a win carved clean. Colbert leaned forward, his voice cutting through. Well, folks, looks like Barron's not ready for prime time. Guess the Trump playbook's still in draft. His tone light, a blade of wit, a quip that drew laughs, loud and warm. The audience, exhaling, some clapping, spot on. Others whooping, a lifeline he tossed, a host turning heat into gold. His grin steady, a tension melting fast, a spark of joy flickering bright. He skipped the clash, no lingering poke. Let's move on, we've got a night to roll. His riff smooth, a pivot that landed soft. The crowd's laughter swelling, their cheers surging. A wave he rode easy, a Trump's meltdown fading dim, a recovery woven tight. A stand that felt real, a night reclaimed swift. A triumph no one could shake, a story they owned with every cheer. The mood lifted, Colbert's voice rising. You sticking with me? His question a bridge, his smile warm, the audience roaring back, their applause a storm, some standing, forever. Their shouts a swell, a unity binding them, a host, forging light from chaos, a clash turned lesson, a win needing no grudge, just heart and hustle, a moment tying tight, a Trump's shadow gone, a night standing tall. The segment flowed on, the crowd's buzz a steady beat, their trust in him a rock, some swaying, others beaming, a story spinning beyond the set. A simple chat turned into a saga, a shock unfolding full and deep, a tale poised to close. A question, pulsing soft, would Barron's exit fade, a fleeting blip, or lift Colbert's shine to burn alone? The Late Show studio hummed with a vibrant, settling roar, the crowd's applause swelling into a warm, steady tide, their cheers softening, their phones still buzzing, a wild clash with Barron Trump fading into echoes, his exit a whisper, a shocking night sealed by Stephen Colbert's deft hand, a moment glowing with heart and grit, a spark dimming slow. Colbert leaned back, his grin wide, his hands loose. You sticking with me? His bridge still ringing, his breath calm, a host who'd turned a Trump storm into gold, a voice closing strong, a triumph burning bright. The audience clapped, their swell a living wave, some shouting, all the way, others beaming, always. Their unity a steady pulse, a night reclaimed clean, a clash faded fast, a story wrapping tight, a victory no one could dent, a shock settling deep, a scene poised to end bold and true. The air eased, Colbert's voice lifting. Well, folks, we've had a wild one. Barron brought the heat, but we kept the fire, right? His tone smooth, a quip that landed soft, the crowd laughing, some whooping, a release tying them close, a host weaving chaos into calm, his hands gesturing free, attention gone, a spark of joy glowing wide. He didn't linger on Barron, no final dig. Time for some music, let's wash that down. His pivot crisp, a nod that drew cheers, the crowd's swell surging, their applause a thunderous beat, a Trump's flare dimming faint, a recovery, sealed tight, a stand that felt earned, a night turned crisp, a triumph they shared, a story spinning beyond the set, a simple chat turned saga, a shock fading full and deep, a tale closing sharp. The digital storm churned on, clips of Barron storms off, and Colbert's prime-time line flooding screens, a viral blaze splitting chatter, some slamming Barron's rage, others praising Colbert's edge, a tale stretching wide, a win echoing loud, a Trump team silent, a host's crew grinning, their views soaring, a moment locked in time, a clash of footnote to Colbert's shine, a narrative landing clean, real, just. The band struck up, their notes bright, a wave lifting the room, the crowd swaying, their cheers a steady hum, a night's edge melting soft, a close rapping true, a victory born from wit, not spite, a tale tied with grace. Colbert stood, his presence firm. "You're the best, thanks for this." His voice warm, a thanks that stuck. The crowd's roar a final swell, a knight standing tall, a Trump's ghost gone, a host's light burning clear. The clock wound down, Colbert's final wave cutting through, his grin steady, his stand alone under lights, a beacon holding firm. "Hit that like button if you loved it, subscribe for more." His call natural, the room erupting, their cheers shaking walls, a tribute to a host who'd flipped a meltdown into magic, step by deft step. The cameras sweeping wide, faces lit with joy, some buzzing, others clapping. A night ending bold, a clash, a memory, a triumph blazing bright, the screen fading black, a cap to a saga that soared, a nudge to join the ride, a legacy of truth over bluster sealed in their roar. Barron's exit dissolved, a blip lost, Colbert's win a fire that held, a story closed crisp, a night owned full. Hey, if you loved this showdown, smash that, like, subscribe, and stick with us for more.